Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the anniversary banquet of Daniel Chappie James, Lodge number 72, and our worshipful master, Chevalier M. Gregory. My name is Senior Warden Christopher Wallace, and I will be your master of ceremony this evening. Please rise and join me as I introduce tonight's distinguished guests. Escorted by her wonderful husband, the District Deputy Grand Patron for District Number 1, Robert Green, the worthy Grand Matron of Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, State of Washington and Jurisdictions, the Grand Worthy Matron, Una Green. Vice Joshua Antonio Wise of Rainbow Court Number 2, the most ancient Grand Matron of the Prince Hall Grand High Court, Heroines of Jericho, State of Washington and Jurisdictions, the most ancient Grand Matron, Marie Hilliard. Escorted by Mrs. Valerie Britt, the Grand Worthy Joshua of Prince Hall Grand High Court, Heroines of Jericho, State of Washington and its jurisdictions, Most Worthy Grand Joshua, Charles Taylor. Escorted by Sir Knight Alexander Pinckney, the Grand Princess Captain of Lottie M. Can, Grand Guild, Grand Princess Captain Sharon Holly. Escorted by his lovely wife, Talitha Moore, Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Moore. Escorted by his lovely wife, Miss Vanessa Cassidy, the most excellent Grand High Priest of Holy Royal Ark Masons in the state of Washington, the most excellent Grand High Priest, Robert D. Cassidy. Escorted by his lovely wife, the Grand Queen of the Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Order of the Eastern Star, State of Washington and Jurisdiction, the First Lady of Daniel Chappie James, Sister Latoya Gregory, and the Worshipful Master of Daniel Chappie James, Lodge number 72, Worshipful Master Chevalier M. Gregory, Sr. Escorted by his lovely wife, the worthy matron of Olympic Chapter Number 2, the First Lady of this jurisdiction, Miss Brenda Rags, the Grand Master of Masons of and for the state of Washington and jurisdictions, the Honorable Gregory D. Rags, Sr. Ladies and gentlemen,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And y'all need to that.
Junior Warden Wise, would you please come and establish protocol?
To the most worshipful Grand Master, the Honorable Gregory Rags, Sr.,
past Grand Masters, officers, and members of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge, Grand Seven Masons, to the Most Excellent Grand High Priest, Robert E. Cassidy, past Grand High Priest, officers, and members of the Most Excellent Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Holy Royal Art Masons, Right Eminent Grand Commander, Sir Knight Thomas L. Johnson Sr., past Eminent Grand Commanders, officers and members of the James Rocky Dallas Grand Commandery of Knights Templar, Grand Thrice Illustrious Master Carl A. Gardley, past Grand Thrice Illustrious Masters, officers and members of the Robert J. Avery Grand Council of Royal and Select Masters, Grand Worthy Matron Ewan Green, Grand Worthy Patron Julian Harris, past Grand Worthy Matrons, past Grand Worthy Patrons, officers and members of the Grand Chapter Order of the Eastern Stars, most Ancient Grand Matron Marie Hilliard, Worthy Grand Joshua, Charles Taylor, past most Ancient Grand Matron, past Worthy Grand Joshua's, officers and members of the Grand High Court, Aaron Jericho, Grand Princess Captain Sharon Holly, Grand Royal Advisor Ian Dumay, past Grand Princess Captains, past Grand Royal Advisor, officers and members of the Lottie M. King, Grand Guilds of Templar, illustrious Deputy of Orient of Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasons for the State of Washington and Oregon, Daniel Lunsford, State Grand Loyal Lady Ruler of the State of Washington and Oregon, State Grand Assembly, State Grand Loyal Lady Ruler Peggy McClary, Knight York Cross, Honor William L. Hawkins, Prairie number 13, Eminent Prior Anthony Hurd, Imperial Deputy of the Desert, Ancient Egyptian Order of Mystic Shrine, Eric Barfield, Imperial Deputy of the Desert, daughter of Isis Ruth McClary, Worship Masters, Excellent High Priests, Eminent Commanders, Thrice Illustrious Masters, Eminent Priors, Worthy Matrons, Worthy Patrons, Most Ancient Matrons, Worthy Joshuas, Princess Captains, Warrior Advisors, Illustrious Commanders and Chiefs, Thrice Potent Masters, Most Wise and Perfect Masters, Loyal Lady Rulers, Deputies of Oasis, Daughters of Isis, Illustrious Potentates, Illustrious Commanders, Distinguished Guests, Ladies, Gentlemen, Brothers, Companions, Illustrious Companions, Sir Knights, Knights, Sisters, Parents, Guilds, Freighters, Loyal Ladies, Nobles, and Daughters. Protocol has been established.
It's already been established. I would like to give a brief synopsis of our guest speaker. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Moore, who is the husband of a wonderful wife, Talitha Moore. He is also the proud father of 5 children. Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Moore is the commander of 627 Force Support Squadron and the Deputy Director of Human Resources at Joint Base Lewis McCord, Washington. He orchestrates and executes joint installation support functions for 155,000 active duty airmen, soldiers, sailors, Marines, civilians, retirees, and their family members for the DoD's premier joint installation. In addition to his joint mission, Lieutenant Colonel Moore provides mission-ready airmen with prime readiness and personnel support for contingency operations for worldwide military operations through sustained, expeditionary, and joint war-fighting capabilities. Lieutenant Colonel Moore earned his commission through the Air Force Officer Training School. His early assignments include Squadron Section Commander for the largest equipment management squadron in USAF, United States Air Force Europe, and Chief of Readiness, Relocations, and Employment for the 48th Fighter Wing, Royal Air Force Base, Lake Heath, United Kingdom. He has a varied operations support background to include Special Operations Plans Officer and Wing Air Refueling Manager for the 16th Special Operations Group and Support Squadron, Herbert Field, Florida. In addition, Lieutenant Colonel Moore served as the Military Director for the Political Military Affairs Strategic Program, as well as the Director of the United States Air Force Embassy Immersion Program at Air Command and Staff College, Air University, Maxwell Air Force Base. He is also a prior enlisted Army personnel, reservist. Prior to his current position, he served as the Director of Operations, 21st Student Squadron, Air Command and Staff College, Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. Other achievements. He is also the 2002 Lansby Sagen Award winner, the 2003 USAF Company Command Grade Officer of the Year, 2004 22nd Air Force Refueling Wing Director of Staff Company Grade Officer of the Year, 2007 Headquarters Air Force Officer in Sessions Training School Field Grade Officer of the Year, 2008 Air University Field Grade Officer of the Year, 2008 Air Education and Training Command Personnel Manager of the Year, 2008 United States Air Force Support Field Grade Officer of the Year, 2012 21st Fleet Squadron Air Command and Staff College Field Grade Officer of the Year. His effective date of promotion, the second lieutenant, was 1996. His first lieutenant was in 1999. Became a captain in 2001. I majored in 2006 and a lieutenant colonel in 2012. It is now my privilege and honor to introduce to you Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Moore III, whose family is in the Prince Hall family, and we hope to have him there one day. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Moore III. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. To the most worshipful Grand Master, worshipful Master, First Lady, most excellent Grand High Priest, Deputy of the Desert, Grand Princess Captain, most ancient Grand Matron, and Grand Worthy Matron, members of the Daniel Chappie James Chapter Lodge 72, Prince Hall, affiliated and distinguished guests. Greetings. Greetings. So thank you for allowing me to address you tonight. I promise I will not be before you long. I understand that I was not your first choice for tonight. In fact, as I understand it, your first choice was someone who is prominently in the national spotlight with more historic ties to the lodge, but that person had a previous engagement. And your second choice, I wasn't even your second choice. Your second choice, you wanted someone with a high IQ, someone who could wax eloquently about the high ideals and the Masonic leadership, but that person was also unavailable. Then I learned that you were looking for someone with a more affluent status. Again, definitely not me. Someone who had lots of money and rubbed elbows with politicians and local business leaders. But that person, again, could not be found. So while you could have the most prominent guest speaker, and you could have the smartest guest speaker, and while you could have the richest guest speaker, I'm happy that you finally settled on the best looking guest speaker. Seriously though, when Robbie asked me to speak, I immediately accepted, although I couldn't figure out why you wanted me in front of you. After all, I'm not a Mason, I'm not even from the local area, and quite frankly, there's nothing extraordinary or exceptional about what I do for a living. So obviously, as you can see by my attire, I'm in the military. And like many of you, I've answered the call to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And yes, I would die for my country. And before I go on, let me just say to those of you who have served, and more importantly, to those of you who have supported those folks that have served, you put your dreams on the sidelines for those so they could support and defend the Constitution. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your sacrifice and your service. So, you know, even though I've been in the military for almost 30 years now, I'm nervous talking in front of people. As my wife just said, suck it up. So. Okay, so not knowing much about Masonry, not knowing much about your organization, I did what any good field grade officer would do. I studied my target. As a military strategist, I wanted to find the center of gravity. And for the purpose of tonight, that center of gravity is our commonality. As I said, I know not that much about your organization. But after 30 plus years, I know a lot about mine. So I figured if I can find out where they're similar, then I'd be okay to stand in front of you tonight. So during the course of my study, I began thinking if masonry and military were even compatible at all. During the course of my research, I found out a couple of things that were quite astonishing to me. I found there are many similarities. We share a strong sense of tradition. We believe in having a strong moral compass as individuals and as an organization. And we also share a sense of duty to our commonalities, whether they be local, national, or abroad. We support our organizations. Our organizations also enjoy camaraderie and fellowship, and we are willing to help others before we help ourselves. We believe in sacrifice and service. In fact, there are similarities in the military uniforms. We both show our rank. We both show our medals, or I believe jewels, as you call them. So our regalia and our uniforms are very similar. Masonic meetings usually end with a formal dinner with awesome speeches. And sometimes even a toast and a bit of singing, like many of the military functions that I've been to. Masons take an oath to support each other in times of need. Masons raise a lot of money for external and internal charities, not unlike the military members who make donations to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation that I am a part of. So there are a lot of similarities between Masons and military members, so now I understand a little bit more about that. So when I searched for direction in a topic tonight, I was led to the topic of leadership. More specifically, what makes great leaders great? What makes them different from everyone else? How do they amass the large amount of followers that they do to support their cause? I mean, certainly Barack puts his pants on just like everybody else, right? One leg at a time. Condoleezza dons her blazer the same way everybody else does, one arm at a time, right? Richard Sherman laces up his cleats one leg at a time, just like everybody. All right, that's a bad example. No worries. Here's a better one. Certainly Martin Luther King was a great man and a brilliant orator, but it took more than a well-expressed sentence for him to turn the tide of civil rights the way he did. So what makes great leaders great? What puts them above all others in their profession? Well, I believe the aforementioned leaders and other great leaders like them, I believe they share this one common trait. They think from the inside out. Let me explain this to you. I believe great leaders think differently from the inside out because they understand what motivates people. Okay? Certainly, every single employee and every organization understands the what in what they do, right? 100%. And most know about how they go about doing their daily duties, so they understand the how they do it. But very few people and organizations understand the why they do things. And by the why, I don't mean you just make a widget or you turn a profit. Those are results of things. That's not the why. So by the why, I mean, what's your purpose? What causes you to get up in the morning? What's your beliefs? Why does your organization exist and what does it stand for? Okay? More importantly, why should anybody else care? Don't get me wrong, it's normal to think in terms of what you do first and then how you do it second. Inevitably, that leads you to the why. You will get there. That's a cognitive process that everybody understands. But I believe great leaders think inside out. They think backwards. They think about the why first. And then they are able to clearly communicate that reverse process to their employees, in my case, to their troops, so they will understand it. See, most people, once they understand the why, then they get buy-in. The buy-in's easy. As a unit commander, I can tell you that I can get my airmen to do anything. I can get them to the what, I can get them to the how. But it's very difficult as a commander and as a leader or as a CEO or as a boss to get them to understand the why. But once you get them to that why, once you get them to that buy-in, everything else is gravy, as they say. So Lodge 72, let me ask you, why do you exist? Why are you a Mason? Let me dig a little deeper. Why are you a Mason? Is it just for the great parties that you throw? Is it certainly to, the great speakers that come before you? Is that the reason? I don't think so. course, I wouldn't blame you if that was the reason. But I believe you guys understand the why. You understand the why you exist. Okay, so I said I would not be before you long, and I'm going to promise you that as a former college professor, I learned very early in life that you must leave your audience physically before they check it on you mentally.
Good evening. Good evening. Whoever it was that put me on the program after such an eloquent speaker, you're fired. Before I get started with what I have to say, if I can direct your attention to the empty chair that's up here. What you'll notice is there is a wine glass that's overturned and 5 flowers, 3 of which are yellow, 2 of which are pink. For those of you, which I'm pretty sure you're aware, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So to break down what the chair symbolizes, this chair is for our brothers and sisters and our loved ones that are no longer here to fellowship with us. The overturned wine glass says that since they're in that house not made with hands eternal in the heavens, that they are no longer here to partake of toast with us. The 5 flowers, the 3 yellows represent the Masons, the Eastern Stars, and the Heralds of Jericho that have departed our midst. The 2 pink roses, the first symbolizes our breast cancer survivors. Our breast cancer survivors, and the second pink rose symbolizes our loved ones that we have lost to breast cancer. With that being said, can I have all, if you will, breast cancer survivors please stand? I usually don't get nervous. I'm trying to hide it well. My members will tell you, well, I don't like to speak in front of large crowds. My members will probably tell you something otherwise. But without further ado, first giving all praise and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who is truly the head of my life, without whom none of this would be possible. I would like to thank everyone again for being here tonight to celebrate the 31st anniversary of this great live. Ladies, you look absolutely stunning. Gentlemen, you look sharp as always. I had originally written a speech that was short and to the point, but my grandmother had a saying that has stuck with me to this day. She always said, "Don't give me flowers and kind words when I'm gone. Give me flowers while I'm living so that I can appreciate their beauty, and if you have kind things to say them while my ears are warm and can receive them, and my heart can sing with joy, knowing that I touched you enough for you to bless me with your kind words." So if you'll bear with me, allow me a few moments of your time to say what's in my heart tonight. I promise not to get long-winded, but if for some chance I do, please charge it to my head and not my heart. Normally, when you attend an anniversary banquet, the members of that lodge, chapter, or court are given gifts and accolades for the hard work they have done that year. Tonight, I intend on doing the same. But allow me to start with the incredible people that are seldomly publicly recognized, yet are the ones that make it possible for us to do the great things we do in our lodges and our communities. Could you please give my members a few minutes while they take care of what So, to the ladies of Daniel Chappie James Lodge number 72, to the amazing women that take care of the kids and the household, and everything else while we are trying to make a difference in our community. To the ladies that are, without knowing it, the true backbone of this great life. For your support, without the support, nothing we do would have meaning. I say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to borrow your husbands, fiancés, and boyfriends this year to make a difference in our communities. Thank you for being patient when I had to call last-minute meetings and on the long days when I drug your men to Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma, Bremerton, and even as far north as Granite Falls. Because of you, the men of this lodge were able to create magic this year. Please accept these flowers as a token of our appreciation for everything that you have done. For everything that you have done made it possible for us to do what we have done this year. Thank you. If I get emotional, please forgive me. To my mentor, words cannot express the gratitude that I have for you and the special place you hold in my heart.
Come on now. We're here with you.
Thank you for not only teaching me, but also showing me what it is to be humble, to be God-fearing, to walk upright, and how to truly conduct myself as a Mason, and more importantly, as a husband and father. Thank you for always telling me what I needed to hear and not what I wanted to hear. I cherish every conversation that we have had, regardless of what it was we were talking about. For in every conversation with you, I have learned something. You have been my closest friend, a confidant, a role model, and a father figure to me. Thank you so very much for being you, for always being there for me, and everything you've done for me and my family. I am truly thankful that God thought enough of me to have put you in my life. To my past masters, thank you for your guidance this year. I know at times it probably wasn't easy. I could be very stubborn and stuck in my ways when I want to. But thank you for keeping me on the right path and for reeling me back in when I got ahead of myself. You are truly giants among men, and I'm humbled to be able to stand in the shadow of such giants. Thank you for being patient through the endless number of questions I had this year, and for allowing me to make mistakes, yet at the same time, giving me the tools that I needed to correct those mistakes. This year, I would like to do something that I don't think has been done since I've been a member of Daniel Chappie James, and I hope it continues with the administrations after me. I know it can't be easy being a past master, especially when you have a worshipful master like me. Hard-headed, stubborn, and doesn't want to listen. But then when you get to a lodge anniversary or you get to a grand session and a lodge receives awards, sometimes the people we forget to honor are those past masters that paved the way for us to be where we're at today. So I thought it would be befitting for Daniel Chappie James to give a Past Master of the Year award this year. I can call on, anytime I called on any of my past masters, they would help me. But there was always one that no matter what time I called him, no matter what questions I had, he was there. I would call him, I'd say, "Sir, you got a second?" And the first thing he would say was, "You my worshipful master, I always have time for you." Sir, I thank you for your guidance. I thank you for your mentorship. The Past Master of the Year for 2013-2014 is none other than our very own Right Worshipful Robert D. Cassidy. Please. To my members, as a matter of fact, could all the members of Daniel Chappie James please stand?
army of y'all. So had I got everybody what I wanted to get them, I probably wouldn't have been standing here tonight because I would have been in the doghouse. So I did get everyone certificates of appreciation for all your hard work this year. I won't pass them out now because it'll belabor the program, but once the formal portion of this is done, please stop up here and see me so I can give you what I owe you. The certificates all read as such. In recognition of your distinguished service, dedication, faithfulness, and devotion to Daniel Chappie James Lodge number 72, your hard work and passion for masonry was instrumental in the success of the lodge and the craft, and enabled Daniel Chappie James Lodge number 72 to set the standard for all others to emulate. Thank you for truly embodying what it means to meet on the level, act by the plumb, and part on the square. We all we got. My next presentation is long overdue. Had it not been for this special lady, the things that we did in the community, we probably wouldn't have been able to do. I know around Easter, we had an Easter party, Easter egg hunt, and because of her, we were able to give almost 45 children Easter eggs, baskets, and over 108 toys. So could I please have Sister Martha Davis come to the podium? Thank you so much, man. This certificate is for a gentleman that not only pushed Daniel Chappie James to better themselves, but pushed our whole district to better themselves. And because of his work and his efforts to unite all of the lodges within District Number 2, I would like for Right Worshipful Antonio Graham to come here. And his certificate says, in recognition of your devotion and steadfast support to Daniel Chappie James Law number 72, your support, your passion for masonry, and your love for your brothers in the craft was instrumental in the success of Daniel Chappie James Law number 72. Thank you for your guidance, support, and the work you've done to unite District 2 and in bringing our district back to the forefront of this jurisdiction. The Daniel Chappie James Lodge of the Year Master Mason Award. I racked my brains for about 2 months trying to figure out which brother I was going to give this to, because all my brothers are go-getters and hard workers. So what I looked at was what brother enabled us to be able to do what we wanted to do within the community. And once I broke it down that far, there was only one person I could think about. I know I got on your nerves. I know we fought like cats and dogs. But when you finally listened to me, you saw what you were able to accomplish. So, without further ado, the Master Mason of the Year for 2013 and 2014 is our very own Junior Warden Antonio Wise. To my members, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I have said from the beginning that if we were to be successful this year, it would be because of nothing I did, but everything that you did. I know I haven't been the easiest person to work with, but it's only because I'm passionate about masonry. I know the caliber of you gentlemen, what you are capable of, and what we as a lodge are capable of. Thank you for everything that you have done this year. Everything we set out to accomplish in December, we accomplished. And it's all because for my last 2 awards, there are two brothers that went above and beyond anything we could have asked of them. When you love your brother so much that you're willing to give up your personal property in order to help your brother out, that speaks volumes. These two brothers, whenever a brother had some static going on and they needed to get away from the house, their home was available. If a member's car broke down and they needed a way back and forth to work, these two brothers gave up one of their extra vehicles to help their brother out. So what I did this year is to thank them for going above and beyond and for exemplifying what the term or what the word brother really means. I came up with what I call the Distinguished Service Award. So the Distinguished Service Award recipients for 2013 and 2014 are Brother Alexander Pickney and Brother Christian Espada. The plaque reads, presented to Brother Alexander Pickney and Brother Christian Espada for your dedication, willingness to serve, thoughtfulness, and for always being there when called upon. You truly epitomize the word brother in every sense of the word. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't bore you with the rundown of everything these men accomplished this year. I just want to leave you with two significant accomplishments, which are a testament to this lodge and the pedigree of its members. At the beginning of the year, Dame Chappie James quickly picked up the mantra of a young lodge that liked to party. I'll admit, at the beginning of the year, we threw parties left and right. But what wasn't spoken about was the work the funds raised from those parties enabled us to do. I say that to say this. Yes, we won Stateside Lodge of the Year, but the two achievements that I would like to leave with you are this. Since December, the members of Dame Chappie James collectively accumulated 6,107 volunteer hours serving in the communities of Lakewood, Tacoma, Olympia, and Lacey. The second is that because of these men and their hard work, Dame Chappie James Lodge number 72 was able to donate over $5,500 back to the communities in which we, as Masons, work so hard to make a difference in. I would be remiss if I did not thank two ladies that were never in the spotlight, but anytime we had something, they were always in the shadows working. To my mom, Miss Renee Gregory, and my sister, Keita Gatley. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Whether or not it was cooking the food for our events, attending to the bar, helping to pass out flyers or designing flyers, for you two ladies not to be members of this organization, you work just as hard as any of my members, and I thank you. Man. Lastly, before I have to buy a dress,
Dang it.
somebody get us a tissue because she's going to cry. Lastly, but most importantly, in the game of chess, the queen is the most important piece, for she protects the king. The queen is the only pawn on the board that is able to move from one side of the board to the other, vertically, diagonally, and horizontally. The queen is given this freedom so that she can protect her king. Regardless of what boneheaded move the king may make, or he may be forced to make, the queen is there to protect him. So to my queen, my rib and my backbone, Miss Latoya Gregory, I say thank you. Thank you for always protecting me, Thank you for your support over the last 12 years, and especially over the last 10 months. I know it hasn't been easy with the time demanded of me as a worshipful master, but thank you for your understanding and your patience when the duties of my lives took me away from home. I would not have been able to do it without you. You are truly the wind beneath my wings, for without you, I could not spread my wings and fly. I love you. Again, thank you all for coming out to celebrate our 31st Lodge anniversary. I hope you have enjoyed yourself this evening, and each and every one of you has truly made this a memorable night. Thank you.
At this time, starting with the head table, if you have gifts or presentations for the worshipful master, please come.
Congratulations, this is for the being Grand Master.
Thank you.
And it's much success to you.
All right. No. You want the fifth one? You can get the fifth one.
Yeah, I work big. You know I work big.
All right.
All day.
So, traditionally, worshipful masters, for the year, they get flat. If you ever been to the Gregory estate, they got enough flat. And don't have any more space on the walls for even their children's pictures. So this is a gift for the worship master and the first lady from the members of Daniel Chappie James. Of course, it's some
People got to keep on the part that Daniel Chappie James were not traditional this year anyway.
It's a gavel. It's a gavel that reads Worship Master of the Year, Daniel Chappie James, number 72, Chevalier M. Gregory, Sr., 2014. Along with some Panthers gear and a hat. A worship master Gregory makes honey hats. There's some other Panthers gear there, but in Seahawk Nation, no one has to fight no way about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Man with no ears.
And to the first lady, if y'all know anything about Toy, she likes to smell good. So in the bag is a various assortment of gifts for the first lady. So that's all from the lodge.
To my son and daughter, whom I love so much, this is not for you. Worship for masters for First Lady.
If anyone else have any presentations for the worship master and the first lady, you can come forward, not all at one time. Anybody? Somebody? No, you're not dismissed yet.
This one's actually for me and Mom, for both of you. Both of you. Okay? No, that's for me. That's for both of you.
Daphne, would you please come forward to present the grand word?
Esteemed privilege of introducing to some and presenting to others our grand worthy matron of the state of Washington and this jurisdiction, in the name of Una Green.
I have truly enjoyed myself tonight. The food was delicious. I want to thank you again for the invitation. Your worship master has stolen a special place in my heart, him and the First Lady both. I just love him dearly. And I think he's doing an excellent job. And to Daniel, Chappie, James Lodge, all these young members are such young men, but I see how hard they work. And at Grand Session, they stole everything. Lodge of the Year, Worship Master of the Year, and you is so deserving. And again, just keep up with the good work. And to the Colonel, am I right, Lieutenant? Your message really sunk deep, because we have to remember why we took that oath. And sometimes we have to take a step backwards and just figure it out. Why? Why are we here? Why did we take that oath? And I think once we do that, we can move forward. I'd like for all the stars to just kind of hold your hands up. And to Sister Davis, you got that award. It is so deserved. And she is one of the hardest working people I've ever known in my life. Anything she takes part of, she do it 110%. And she is my grand treasurer, but I tell you, you have to worry about that money, because she's going to count that penny to the squeezes and hollers. And I would prefer to know how much I appreciate her. To my district deputy, Grand Matron, Sharon Holly, is such a hard worker, and to all the stars, I want to thank you again, and thank you for just having me here, and to stand before you and say how much I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
Before I bring the Most Ancient Grand Matron up, I would like to thank Daniel, Chappie, James for their invitation this evening. And I am really proud of you young Masons. You're young, gifted, and right. Yes. And for one thing, to me, you haven't forgot where you was first made a Master Mason, which is most important. So at this time, I will perform my duty and introduce to some and present to others. The Most Ancient Grand Matron, Prince Hall, Grand High Court, Herons of Jericho, Washington, and this jurisdiction, in the name of Marie Hilliard.
I bring you greetings on behalf of Prince Hall Grand High Court Herons of Jericho. I thank you very much for the invitation. And for double duties, I would like to present my grand officers, my Deputy Grand Joshua, my Senior Agent Grand Matron. Okay, and also have with me my District Deputy for number 1. I thank you very much for the invitation. I so enjoyed the speech, I.S. Reed, about people and their obligations, about if you don't want to do the job, don't take the position. And to the Grand Master, First Lady, Grand Worthy Matron, and all the heads and dignitaries. I'm not going to forget her, my grand sweetheart, Sharon Holly, who I'm already looking at. Thank you very much. And also congratulations.
I would like to present to others and introduce Grand Princess Chappie.
Good evening. You all look lovely out there. I bring you greetings from Lottie M. Can Grand Gill, Herons of Temple Crusade, Auxiliary of James Rocky Dallas Commandery of Washington's jurisdiction. It's been a pleasure and honor to be in here tonight as your guest, Savadier, Worshipful Master, my friend. You have shown exemplary duties and leadership with all the young Master Masons that you have following you. But to get along with those past masters, I understand that too. Would all the princesses of Lydium Can Grand Guild just please raise your hand? You are here. Thank you. Again, we thank you for the invitation, and if there's anything that we can do from you, from the Heritage Temple Crusade, please let us know. We'll be just waiting.
I bring you greeting from the Most Excellent Prince Hall Grand Chapter, Order of all Masons, and to the worship master, you did a good job this year. So, give yourself a pat on the back along with the members of Daniel Chapter James. In 1996, when I came into this jurisdiction, and my Masonic career started right here in Daniel Chapter James, Lodge number 72. And so it's nice to see that some of the past masters still here, and I want to recognize some past Grand House priests. Jane Rocket Dallas in the very rear. And to our guest speaker, that was a nice speech, and it really meant a lot to me. Hearing that again, I thought I was back in Sergeant Major Academy, but it was good to hear that. And Worship Master said again, congratulations, thanks for the invite. And to my wife, Vanessa, sir.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening.
Good evening.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Washington and jurisdiction. Daniel Chappie James, 31 years. I just took a little notes here. 27 Worshipful Masters, Lodge of the Year twice, Worship Master of the Year once, and then you have your very own past Grand Master of the Lodge. And that's a accomplishment right there in 21 years. Because some lodges is older than that and hadn't even touched, graced the Lodge of the Year or Worship Master of the Year. All right. So you can give yourself a round of applause for that. As you all know, that the theme for this year for the Grand Lodge is working together for one common bond. And as you can see, it's all right here, up here, and you got everybody that's here. Now, we know that tonight there's another function going on that took away from some of your members also. So some of my officers are there, and this is the latest night for Capital City, no, Cascadian consistory number 75. And they're just on down I-5 corridor, probably finishing up their latest night at the same time that we are here. So we spread ourselves thin, so this is the end. This is sort of like the result of everything here. So some of my officers there, you have the Deputy Grand Master that is a member of here, but you know, when you're in that position, you just can't hold ties to just your lodge, so I sent him packing down that way. Don't blame him, blame me. We do have a visitor. He's not really a visitor, but I just want to make sure we recognize him. If you want to bring any remarks, you're welcome to come up here and do it. Vern James, he's the Grand Tyler from the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Texas. Would y'all give him a round of applause?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So I'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to bring you greetings from the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Texas, where the Honorable Wilbur M. Curtis presides as our Grand Master. To Worship Master Vaudier, my nephew, good job. Daniel Chapter James 72, congratulations on all the success that you've had this year. It is heartwarming to see a lodge of such young men who puts their community above self and render selfless service. I look forward to seeing you all on street cleanup too. You know what I'm talking about. I wish you all continued success. Keep doing what you're doing. You're setting the standard, and it's a beautiful thing. Grandmaster, thank you, sir, for the opportunity once again. Yes, sir.
And you know, they say the country of Texas. Now, you know Mississippi whooped up on Texas today. I just had to throw that one in there.
Hey, we could wrestle all them still now.
I know. Also, they put a whooping on Alabama, too. But at this time, I would like to, all the past grandmasters, would you all please stand? And we're going to start in the back right there. We got honorary past grandmaster James Rocky Dallas. Would you all give a round of applause? We have past grandmaster, most worshipful Patrick L. Hughes Sr. And I have the elected and appointed Grand Lodge officers. Would you all please stand? Worship masters, would you all please stand? Now I'm about to wrap it up here, but you know, this young lady, she belonged to me. So y'all know. I'm sorry, I apologize, but she belonged to me. Miss Brenda Rags, would you please stand? Would you all give her a round of applause? Brenda has a birthday coming up here in about the next 48 hours. But she already got her gift already. Believe me, there's a lot of gifts. So we're gonna move on. But worship master, come on over here and let me give you a little something here. This is just something that I like to present to you, and you can open it up and show it off. But I'm in the process of doing something that Right Worship William Spencer done to me and done to a lot of brothers. He tell you something about dress, and so I'm giving him I'm throwing another hint out there, and then Right Worship Spencer, I'm throwing your legacy on as making them. They can't wear jeans with a tie, and they can't wear jeans with a tie and cuffs. So in other words, he got to go get him some slacks or a suit. And Daniel Chappie James, well, I tell you, when I was listening to the awards that came around and all the years, it's a report last year, man, y'all guys, y'all done it. And just listening to those hours of community service, over 6,000, that's a lot to say. And that's a lot to do, especially being young men. That's a lot, and a lot to stay focused on. And when you got I-5 right out there. So I ask y'all to just keep on doing what you're doing. Senior Ward, you and your committee, y'all should be commended for a job well done. So with that, I'll say God bless you all for another 31 years, and good night, and God bless you.
Thank you, Most Worshipful Grandmaster. Usually the Grandmaster is the last to speak, but I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce my wife, Miss Donicia Michelle Webb. She don't like the spotlight, so that's why I didn't do it. This is my beautiful wife.